Thank you so much for joining us on another episode of Uncut with the Lowes. We are so excited that you are here today. A lot of what we share with you it's the good stuff, right? That's society. Society shares the good things, the things that people want to hear about, that they want to talk about, that they want to celebrate. But kind of today we're going to be diving into is, I don't want to say the negative or the bad stuff, but the hard stuff. Where this conversation stemmed from is Jarrell and I spend about 99.9% of our days together, right? We're a husband and wife team, and that's just, it comes with the territory, right? So a lot of people disagree with it, but we've found it to be that it's something that works for us. We genuinely enjoy each other's company, and we enjoy doing business together, even if some days we want to rip each other's heads off, but most of the days we enjoy it. And I kind of want to
I think when we're talking about, we absolutely enjoy that 99.9%. But today, just focusing on that 0.01%, not that it's negative or it's positive, it's just the nuts and bolts that keeps things moving. And for us, we genuinely enjoy having those conversations. We don't call them check-in conversations, but we have those check-in conversations in the morning.
Like the temperature checks.
Yeah, how are you doing? What's going on? What's on your mind? Where do you need me to come in and support? And one thing I always like to reference, and maybe this is more of me as a man, but it's really understanding, Brittany, do you need me to put my hard hat on and go fix these things? Or do you need me to have my pom-poms and just stand behind you and cheer? So it's really identifying
or listening to at the same time.
It's not just identifying one or the other, but really having those temperature checks, check in, check out. How do we start our day? How do we close our day? And I think what's important, that's so important, you've always, and you're going to continue to hear us talk about being a husband and wife team. And, it's challenging and it has its challenging days. But one thing that, and Brittany brought this to my attention, but one thing with our sports background that we really, 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 really want you to understand is pressure.
No, I get to tell the story. Because this is, I'd say is why we're even here today talking about this. So I'll preface it this way, that we drive a lot, right? That's another part of the business. Most of our days are spent in the car. And so a lot of moments, starting our days off, or if we've had a difficult day, we put a podcast on and listen to it in the car together, and jot our little notes down and, pause it midway and say, ooh, I like that, So the other day in the car, we were listening to a podcast, I think it was by Tom Ferry.
Yeah.
And it was I believe with Michael Jordan's and Kobe Bryant's athletic trainer. It was
Tim Grover.
Yeah, it was an interview. And out of the entire podcast, it was so much good information, but something that stuck out to me, it said, pressure is a privilege. And that has just been, I want to say something.
Can you say that again? I need them to hear that again.
I don't say it as good as they say it on the podcast.
Can you say that again?
But pressure is a privilege. And for us, right, for me, it kind of changed my mindset. The moment I heard that, and every day after that of, okay, I'm having a really crappy day, or, man, we weren't able to do this for our client. But remembering, regardless of where you are, regardless if it's good, bad, or ugly, you're there for a reason. And instead of looking at pressure or enduring a negative situation as something that's negative, flip that switch and change that mentality. And I feel like that's not helped me, but it's helped us in just our everyday conversations and how we approach our business, how we approach our marriage, that, okay, yeah, this isn't easy, but this is a privilege to be in this moment. And what am I going to do from this moment?
Yeah, and I think let's take a step back, because I really want to hone in on this right here. Right? When we say pressure is a privilege, it's really, we have to break this down, debunk it, to see what this means, what this looks like, and how can I apply, what's the application in this? For us with the sports background, right? When you're in that process of learning a new behavior, a layup, right? You're practicing your layup. The goal is mastery. We're trying to get to mastery. And to get to mastery, you have to put in those hours. You have to put in those repetitions. You have to do it when people are not watching. And Tim Grover in the podcast really just did a freaking phenomenal job of honing in on the mindset that Michael Jordan had, the mindset that Kobe had. And I implore you to go listen to it, because he gives vivid illustrations about their process of preparing for practice, when a lot of people just want to celebrate game time, right? A lot of people just want to celebrate the closing or getting your clients in the homes, but we're not talking about the pressure of battling against 10, 12, 15 offers. So when we're talking about the pressure that we experience in our everyday life, we have to take a step back. And I think we have to pull ourselves out of the situation to look down on the situation. So when we're feeling this constraint that pressure's just too much, I can't handle it, I want to quit, we have to reframe that mindset to say, I deserve this. I'm going to overcome this. This is nothing. Why? Because we've put in the hours, we've put in the repetitions, we're working in the dark when nobody's paying attention. You're doing the same thing. And a couple of things, and here's a few things that we have utilized because we've gotten to this constant mindset, right? There's two words, and the first word that it's kind of like our trigger word, right? When Brittany is complaining about something, or I'm complaining about a client or a situation, the first trigger word is more. And our good friend, my family, man, he's my brother, and he's always challenged us, me and Brittany, and he's like, Brittany, how's it going? You know, what's happening right now? Man, you know, hey, I got 2 escrows, I got 2 new clients, and his
response is always more.
And for me, it was getting to that place of understanding, man, it is a lot of pressure having 3 escrows going at once. But we look at each other while we're in that in the heat of battle, more. We want more. And then the goal is to make each other better, right? So if I'm complaining and I'm upset and I'm debriefing my day and I'm letting Brittany know about the clients, it's almost like a quiet chuckle that comes because Brittany will say, more.
Or I'll just say, pressure is a privilege.
And inside, it's like, you're right. Shut up, Jarrell. Let's figure this out.
But I feel like more so, though, the reason that why we talk about this, one, this is kind of who we are. It's how we're wired. You know, our drive, our individual drive and our motivation that we have just to be better individually, you know. It's why we fell in love with each other, being honest. It's the drive that we both kind of have, and it comes out in pretty cool ways. And I think the reason that, you know, why I said, you know, I really want to talk about this on Uncut with the Lows, you know, more so I think we alluded to it in depth in the podcast, is because people go through these instances, right? The ebbs and flows of just real estate, but just in life, right? But it's not addressed. You know, it's only the highs, or, you know, the lows are never addressed. So when you're in those lows, that low moment, how do you flip that switch and change your mentality of, you know, more of noticing that, you know, this is a privilege to be in this moment, and how do I work even harder?
Absolutely. And
so it's not for everyone, but it's, you know, been helpful for us.
And if I can take it a step back, she is absolutely right. That's why we fell in love. And a little just detail about Brittany. The first word that comes to mind is she has this dog mentality. Like when Brittany locks in on something, there is no bust. It's, I'm going to obtain this. And then there's the downside of that I'm a little afraid of, and that's part of my personality. So Brittany is the type that will go jump out of a darn plane and have no remorse, no thoughts or anything about it. For me, when we first started dating, it was, let's go skydiving. And I was like, yeah, right. That is not happening.
Still hasn't gone to this day.
Do you see how big I am? Do you see this right here? And it's not gonna look cute jumping out that plane. But let me get back on track. Pressure, the privilege of having pressure.
The mindset.
And then reframing that pressure that you're experiencing in life, right? For us, like I said, we've used trigger words that help condition us. And those trigger words, better, more, right? If I'm complaining about my performance or my production, how do you get better, Jarrell? Or Brittany, what are you doing to get better? And then if I'm complaining about situations that I'm experiencing, right? Or like, my goodness, I don't know how to handle 3 escrows, or I don't know what's going on. Brittany will say more. And it's that reminder of keep working, keep digging. We're working towards that mastery. And then the love that we have for each other, we're able to hold each other accountable in pressured situations. So now when we're in those battles or those heated moments, right? When you're negotiating contracts or you're working through some challenging situations, we don't respond to pressure the way normal, or I shouldn't say normal, but the everyday person does, because we have conditioned ourselves to handle pressure situations. We have conditioned ourselves to handle.
We eliminate the emotional response, I think, is what it really comes down to. But I do want to highlight, though, that this has not always been like this.
No.
This took years, months, days to get to. And it came with trial and error, more so than anything, of finding what works, because there is no magical sauce, right?
Yeah.
There's no secret sauce that it works. You have to try some things and say, okay, that didn't work, and then try some other things and say, okay, that did work. Or meet with other people, talk to people who are older than you, older couples, and see what they're doing and see how you can implement it. It doesn't just have to be about business. This is just everyday life, regardless if you're, if you're single, if you, are married, or if you're just in a rut trying to figure out where am I at and what am I trying to do?
Seek that professional help and guidance. And Brittany hit the nail on the head by sharing, this was not always like this. We've had, when we dated, some challenging conversations and arguments, but the one commitment we've always kept was never go to bed with anger on your heart. Because when you go to bed angry, you wake up angry, and now you start that day off. We made the commitment saying, we want to get better. I want to see Brittany be the best out there. She wants the best for me out there. And with that, we were able to continue to grind the stone and get better and chisel out what we don't like, to now we're at this place where there's no emotional attachment to pressure situations, but we are conditioned to performing. And that's what it comes down to, whether sports, business, marriage, whatever it is. You want to get to a place where those variables do not impact what you're trying to do right now. So with that being said, pressure is a privilege. If you get a chance, this is like
listen to the episode. Oh.
Tim Grover, it is off the
Fire.
hook, like hour and a half of straight heat. And if you want, you can tune into our podcast as we're sharing the nuts and bolts of what we do day in and day out. So again, appreciate you tuning in and joining us. And hey, pressure is a privilege. Let's get to the 10,000 hours of mastery.